And we are back with another episode of the Backyard Basketball Podcast. I'm Braden Della Coleman. I'm joined by Chris.
Liquid smoke.
How's it going, Chris?
Chin Chris. Yo, what's up, man? How's it going?
Really good. Really good. We're finally here. We are a day away from the NBA playoffs, and we have much to talk about. So let's
go.
So the first thing I want to talk about is this is a really exciting day for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, really? Okay,
I
didn't know we were going here.
There hasn't been much excitement going on when it comes to their winnability, making the playoffs, that they did not do. And LeBron ended the season with a sore ankle. Poor guy. Turning the quarter, 37. Going to be 38 next year.
You know, he could have got that scoring title, right? It was like right in front of him. He just needed to play those like last couple of games.
I'll tell you why this is an exciting day for the Los Angeles Lakers, though.
Why is it? Because there's a coaching vacancy? But apparently they made up their mind like an hour after the game, or maybe like as soon as the game ended, or maybe like, I don't know, like back in February when they realized this team wasn't going anywhere. But yeah, go on.
The reason it's an exciting day for Los Angeles Lakers is this is the first day they will not have to pay for Luol Deng's contract anymore. And if you remember, this was a monster of a contract. 4 years at $72 million. 4 years ago. This guy stopped playing maybe 3.5. Maybe he kind of actually stopped playing like 8 years ago.
When was that contract done? He was so they had that contract before LeBron was even there.
Because I don't think I'm not sure how retirement works. If he's actually retired or not. I know he's not in the league anymore, but he could be playing overseas for all I know. But anyhow, they just freed up so much room. And they have some heavy lifting to do here to sort this out.
Oh, some big moves. They got big moves.
Well, not big moves. They're gonna have to do something.
Now that Luol Deng's off the contract, that they're gonna figure this out, because Luol Deng they're not paying Luol Deng anymore, and also because Frank Vogel is the problem. He's got to go. There's no other big fucking fire sale of an alarm going off in this poor team. I got a question for you. Is Anthony Davis overrated?
No, he's just incredibly injury prone. When it comes to his basketball ability, he's very, very, he's at like the top echelon of basketball playing ability. When it comes to being fragile, he's also at the top echelon. It's a dangerous thing. I mean, but that's what happens with big men. That's what happens with big men. They're playing at a very high level, and unfortunately, that kind of risk.
You know what the best trait of any basketball player is?
Kawhi Leonard.
No. The best trait of any basketball player is availability. That's the best trait. Guess who doesn't have availability? Anthony Davis. You know what? I will say this.
I will say this. Availability.
Availability to play the game.
You don't think he's available to play the game? Oh, you just mean because he's injured and he's unavailable to play. I see what you mean. Yeah. I thought you meant like there's too much going on the court, so he's unavailable to be able to play.
Well, we don't even know that because he's not even on the court. The whole reason this season. I could see it, man. So for whatever reason, I watched like the first 4, I think it was like Laker games when the season started, just like with all my travels and stuff. It was like always the game that was on. So I'm watching these Laker games, and right off the bat, I see AD coming on the court, and I'm like, oh, he's too heavy. He's too big. Like, I don't know what you're thinking. Look at that size, and he's like these huge muscles. And I'm just like, I've never seen this version of AD before. So they decide, in my mind, In my mind, I'm like, okay, they're thinking with like LeBron and Westbrook and AD together, and maybe AD thinking, all right, I'm going to be this kind of player this season. I'm going to put on a bunch of weight. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get rep. And then Westbrook and whatever, they had some kind of game plan. And it's just like, I don't know, a guy that big, that heavy. It's like, and one of those things, I don't know. I look at AD and I'm like, oh, you're like a Kevin Garnett-esque. Like you have, when Kevin Garnett was at his peak, it was just like this fluidity and movement at that size that I see AD like play kind of similarly to. And it's like as KG got older, he like got like went less and less weight and was like more lean, more flexible, more agile. And I don't know, I think maybe that added to his game. Being a big guy like that, I wouldn't really know, but like having a bunch of weight like that, and obviously this season, it's like, man, he just was constant. We joked about it early in the season, like anytime he'd be out there, and it's like, how many times could you count in a game of him like hitting the court? And it's like, man, this sucks.
So you bring up a really interesting piece of this is yeah, he's injury prone, but why is he injury prone? What are the things that why is he putting himself in a position to be at risk greater than other players? LeBron James has been injured maybe for like I don't even like probably like you could count them on your hand how many weeks he's been out in his 18-year career. There are players who don't, they have part of their routine, part of their training is how not to be put in positions of injury risk. Now, anything's going to happen at any point, and there's other variables, other players, other plays. I know it all too well. Just, rolling your ankle, those are freak kind of accidents. But what kind of training can you do to strengthen those weak parts of your game and your
Well,
body too, right?
and think about all those joints and the compression, especially in basketball. And as you get older, like this is the other thing too we have to keep in mind. Like AD is like in his prime, but he's starting to move towards like that later echelon of his prime. Like he's not as a young buck. As soon we're going to talk about some of these other players in the league right now and some of these awards going towards the end of this season. Like I don't know about you, but I feel like there's a shift of that next generation underneath that is really stepping into line. It's crazy to even think that AD is like towards the latter end of that. But as you get older and like you're, especially as a bigger player, and that's what I'm talking about weight. You have so much weight that you're moving around up in the air and you're coming up and coming down. And the way that he plays the game, and it's one of those things I just feel like you're going to get hit. It's an inevitability, especially as a big guy. And you're going up and down constantly in the way that you move. And there's just going to be times in risk where you're hitting the floor. And I think with more of that weight that AD carried, it's just like I see it as like a anomaly throughout the seasons I've watched AD play this particular season. There was like some sort of cognitive choice going into the season that you were going to go in with this kind of body, and it just didn't hold up. And I don't know. If I was the Laker organization going in the offseason, I would looking at diet and exercise and training and looking at what's the ideal way for AD to, number one, more than anything about his game is just be on the court. Like, can we get a consistent season of you? There's been 2 years now where like you've been kind of up and down in injury. Can we get a consistent season from you where you're in good health and just make it through to the end and see what kind of output we get? I mean, I know he's going to play really well, but like he's got to play. And if he can't play like going into next season, like that's just a huge, again, variance of risk, let alone the whole Westbrook stuff. I feel like the Westbrook stuff at this point is just low hanging fruit with the issues on that end and with all the weird bureaucracy of like things that LeBron James says to the public and media, and then like all of the discourse and news and people, typing up stories about, Russell Westbrook going into the season, who takes responsibility. Magic Johnson making comments about the Russell. Oh, if I was in the office, I'd do things differently. This is on LeBron. This is on LeBron. Like what the fuck are we doing? And
That's
obviously
unfortunate.
it didn't
Magic's
work.
doing that. I know
Why did
there's
he
a
do that?
well, there's a divide for sure. They got rid of him,
Yeah.
and he was it was his that was his home for his entire professional career, and he's built ownership opportunities in other leagues in LA, he's still LA's favorite man. And so now he's kind of playing the fan base a little bit, playing up that it's LeBron and it's this and it's that, and if he was there, it would have been like this. But just to go back to your initial question, does everything that you said about AD and the way that he plays and the situation that he's in right now, do you think he's overrated?
It's a loaded question. It was honestly just to generate this kind of discourse, but I am insecure about just the history of injuries he's racked up now, the kinds of injuries to both knees that he's sustained now. I just worry about his longevity for sure. And again, I think it also is akin to maybe he's not as good, not because of necessarily his particular talents and where he sits in the stature of players, but the rest of the players around them, I think, have elevated their game, especially this season, to such a level that the argument, especially for bigs, crazy to think, like when we get in the MVP talks here, that at some point in like mid 2015s to the late 20, when like Steph Curry was really coming in, we're looking at all these guards and it's like, where's the role of the big if everybody's just going to be shooting from the perimeter? To now come back like full circle. It's awesome how this stuff is always cyclical, of like the conversations these last couple of years have been so centrifugal around the bigs, around the big guys, and just them dominating the league. I mean, you look at the last three MVPs: Giannis twice, Jokic this last year, and the type of player we're going to talk about this year for MVP. I'm sure your bet for who you have as your MVP is also a big, as is mine.
Well,
And
as is with the NBA draft, we're seeing so many prospects right at the top of the draft that are,
mm-hmm.
breaking
This year
into
with
the
Chet
NBA.
Holmgren, you've got Evan Mobley this last season.
That's right.
There's a lot of great talent. So for AD's position, like these are some really prime opportunities for you to assert yourself. And just since the 2020 year, like all the confidence going into this year and our picks, like I can't remember, we maybe picked the over on the Lakers to win this year. What the average win was.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I think I had them like in the finals at one
Well,
point.
all of us were thinking, and because it's like
Man.
AD's gonna play, and we know no matter what
Well,
kind of
that's right.
Westbrook you're gonna. I felt no matter what kind of Westbrook you're gonna get at the end of the day, as long as you have LeBron and AD doing what they're doing, what we saw of them in the bubble, I'm feeling good about this team. But it never happened. They never got a chance to play together. There was a lot of injury. And then I
Man.
felt like it perpetuated yourself in situations where bad habits started to rear their nefarious evil ways and face. I don't know where I'm trying to go with that, but like I just think it's like, okay, shit, 80 is out, we lost him for 2 months, all right, it's just gonna be LeBron and Westbrook, we got to figure out this dynamic. Maybe that was never like the actual plan. Maybe it was this relationship of LeBron AD, Westbrook AD. I thought of Westbrook and AD could do the pick and roll. And then it's like, and then Westbrook's like, oh my God, I came into the season. It's like, I'm telling LeBron, I'm going to play this way, man. I'm going to do these different things. It's going to work great. And then he's coming in the heat of the moment and these bad habits start to rear themselves. It's like, I got to take over the game. I'm Russell Westbrook. I got to take over the game. I got to dominate. And then he's like, he can't hit it. And then the pressure's magnified. And then it's like messing with him.
Yeah, but so now break it down. The system clearly wasn't right for those players to all mesh and work together. Where
No,
was Frank Vogel before LA? Was he in Indiana or was he in Orlando?
he was, I think he was in both those places.
So both of those teams have had, I mean, like
They
Indiana
had good success
borderline
in the past.
success. No,
What? No,
not good
wasn't
success.
with he with young Paul George? Wasn't he the head coach on that team? Young Paul George. We had what was the fuck
Danny
his name?
Granger,
Granger. Danny Granger was at his peak before his injury.
and
Um,
that's when Vogel was there.
they were a good team. They were a good team.
Okay,
And
okay.
and also I got to give this
Hmm.
credit to Frank Vogel. He's a defensive coach. That's the type of style coach that he is. What is the one thing the Lakers didn't have on the team this year? Is defense.
And so, what does that say about one of the better defenders?
I think that all the players that were on that team were all more offensive minded players. He didn't necessarily have the anchors because they give them all away. Like, remember when he saw Washington and he goes up to Contavious Caldwell Pope? I think it was after that game. Gives him the biggest hug. Like, it's almost like a hug of father to son. Like, I miss you so much. I love you. I hope you're doing well in Washington. Secretly under his breath, he's like, I wish we never gave you away. Kyle Kuzma played relatively decent defense, but you had, Pope was incredible perimeter defense. Harrell, like he did, some good things. Caruso, incredible defensive perimeter player.
Yes,
And then
that
you're
was a hard
switching it
one
with
to.
Malik Monk, who's undersized. Austin Reeves, who's a rookie, who like doesn't really know he's trying his best. And then Carmelo's not going to play defense. Russell Westbrook doesn't play defense. AD's out, so he can't play defense. LeBron isn't playing defense because he's
Oh
in year
man.
whatever. They didn't have any defense. So I wouldn't
So
put
how
that on
does
Frank
bringing in
Vogel.
another? Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. How does bringing in another
So
defensive-minded
how
coach?
does bringing in Nick Nurse change it around? Is that what you're gonna
That's
say?
what I mean. That's what I mean. It's
Why
not.
did that have to come out today? That's bullshit.
Well,
Whoever reported that, just like fuck off. Like
yeah, it
we're
is.
good.
It is annoying because one, it's also like this guy's under contract. Like,
Yeah.
who knows those kind of dealings that are happening, and he's got bigger fish to fry right now. Like, that's such a distraction. If anything, like just
Oh man. Well, you're gonna get these
sit
American
tight, LA.
reporters.
Yeah.
He's going to be in Philly. They're going to get an American reporter talking to him, being like, "Are you going to the Lakers next year?" And it's going to be like, "Fuck off!" Like, I'm trying to win a series right now.
And he will.
Oh yeah, and then you know what's going to happen? Doc Rivers is going to become the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. That's what's going to happen.
Oh God, why? Why?
Well,
Why did you let that happen?
because he's a great coach, has a
He's
good
signed, he's
relationship.
with Philly.
He has good relationship with
I
LeBron.
don't get
Well,
this.
he's
Why would
maybe
somebody
not a
leave
great
a team they already have a head coaching job and
dude.
go
Think
and
about it.
sign with somebody else?
Think about it. You traded a bunch of pieces. You got away, but you couldn't figure out the Ben Simmons thing. You couldn't get it sorted out. Doc Rivers makes a comment about Ben Simmons at the end of the season that like gets so inflamed by media, and it creates this divide. We've got this huge divide, regardless if that played a part or not. So we've got this turmoil in between the core group, and Doc Rivers in that moment maybe could have said some different things. And over the course of the offseason, can't get it sorted out. They're going into the season. They can't get a trade. You have one of this possibly could be the best Joel Embiid season
Yeah.
he's ever going to have. He is playing out of his damn mind. I will concede to that. And we're going to throw it away having Ben Simmons just sitting there. So Daryl Morey put some assets together. He's given away a bunch of pieces. Really love Seth Curry right now. He's gone. And you get James Harden in return. And you think you're getting the grand, the great,
Glory.
the glory days, the Houston Rockets, James Harden, Chris Paul era, pre-Chris Paul era. And instead we get this guy where I don't know if he is going to be the best player on this. Well, I don't think he's going to be better than Joel Embiid, the second best player on this Philly team, or he's literally going to be like a complete crapshoot, and Toronto's going to rule over this Philadelphia team. And if that happens, if Toronto beats Philadelphia in this first round, I'm telling you, man, because of all of this pressure is mounting, you've got Joel Embiid playing the best he could possibly be. The process is done. We are here. The moment is now. You see that trophy, you reach out and you grab it. And if you lose in the first round to the Toronto Raptors and you got James freaking Harden on your team, somebody has to die by the sword, man. Somebody has to be literally like jump on the grenade. I'm taking this because Philly is one of the, like, I swear, dude, I've never been to Philly, but everybody, what they say to me about their fans terrifies me, man. There is going to be a massacre in Philadelphia. And I think it had, like, the easiest pick, obviously, is going to be Doc Rivers. They're going to want Daryl Morey's head on a stake because why bring James Harden to here?
Well, it's annoying because it's annoying all of what you say because that's not how it should go. That pressure from the outside. I mean, we know it here in Edmonton more than anybody with the Oilers.
Sure.
Of change it up. That's not working. Change it. What happens when you stick with the core? What happens when you build a We the North? Yeah, a lot of those players who won 2-3 years ago aren't with the team, but the core is there. The identity of that is there. And so for the 76ers, it's like, man, if you guys just, I mean, it's the same with the Lakers. If you just keep changing it, how do you build on anything? How do you create a structure and a system and an identity? I mean, with the Lakers, the identity is LeBron James and whatever is around him. And that's fair and fine. But with Philly, yeah, and what are you building around Embiid? And is Harden to supplement? Like, is he to assist here, or is he to be that focus? I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. You've got two really really great players, but yeah, like you said, Harden has been slump lately. He has not been playing the way that
He's
you anticipate
bad,
or
dude.
expect him to. And maybe this is just like a inertia from their OKC days and something similar that what Russell Westbrook's experiencing.
Yeah, like I mean,
Kevin Durant's doing just fine though.
he's doing great. He's aging like a fine wine. But these other two, yeah, dude, I don't know if we're ever gonna get that James Harden before, or and then on top of that, all too, you have to compound that with a really brutal, unfortunate history, but it's a brutal history of James Harden in the playoffs. Right, there's not a good track record there. So I mean, it's really setting itself up. Like when we found out that it was going to be Philadelphia against Toronto, man, I just was so elated. Like out of all the
Oh man,
teams in the top four, for us to hit in the first round, for one to literally just smack out of the playoffs, this is the team.
I think so
So
too. No, I think so too. It's remarkable that Shaq thinks this is going to be a sweep. But you know, he had a bit of a twinkle in his eye, if you will, or
of
a bit of
course,
a smirk, because he's got to know that there's no way that's happening. This is going
no,
to 6 or 7
for sure,
games.
and he's saying that because he's got to support Joel Embiid, right? This is the like for what was it, like the last center to,
It was Shaq
yeah, it was Shaq before, right?
22 years ago. Yep.
So Shaq's got to be like, this is my guy. So and he's putting pressure on him because he wants him to deliver like how Shaq knew he could deliver himself during that time, right? So I mean,
But
Joel
is
Embiid's
James Harden his
gonna
Kobe?
that's just it, man. Brooklyn Brooklyn's laughing now, dude. I mean, albeit that they're in the 7th seed, but just with
I
that whole
think they'll do just
transaction.
fine in the 7th seed. How
So
nice? How long are those series? 3 game, 5 game,
the plan
or is it just a one-off?
one off. So how it
Oh
works?
boy!
So we get the Brooklyn, Cleveland, and Atlanta, Charlotte out of the East. Those are your two matchups.
Did you say we?
Well, just yeah, like
Did
all
you
of
mean the
us.
Celtics?
No, well, all of us get a
Oh,
watch.
I see.
It's gonna be realistically like my personal bet is we see Brooklyn in the 7th seed and we see Atlanta in the 8th seed.
Okay.
That's
So
why
it'd be
that's what
Brooklyn, Atlanta, and Cleveland, Charlotte. Is that how that would work?
No, so it's Brooklyn, Cleveland, our first fighting off, and then Atlanta, Charlotte. Whoever gets
Yeah.
eliminated from those games. So Charlotte loses against Atlanta, Charlotte's out. Then Atlanta plays against Cleveland for that 8th seed. If
Gotcha.
Brooklyn wins against Cleveland, and then whoever wins that game is the 8th seed. And I think I
I
don't know.
see.
I think Trae Young is gonna. I think they're gonna do it. But regardless, so that means Brooklyn's gonna be the 7th seed. So if we want to look at the South to East right now, so if that would be, we already talked about a 4-5 matchup. That's Philly Toronto. I don't know if there's much you want to say about the 3-6 matchup of Milwaukee Chicago. I think that
Uh,
honestly is going to be a sweep, but
it's unfortunate Lonzo's out. That was a really important piece to what was clicking early in the season.
100%.
Yeah, but I think they've got a hard task ahead. Milwaukee's a very very good team. DeRozan's
They
going to
got
have a good
plagued
series, I
by
think.
injury,
But
but yeah, he will. I hope he does. But yeah, I just and then the
it'd be
matchups
nice
too
to
between
see.
those
It'd
two
be
teams. I
really
feel
nice to see Cleveland take out the Nets, though, or any team in that play-in take out the Nets. That'd be so much
that's it,
fun.
dude. That's another team though. Cleveland doing so well for so much of the season, and these last couple of months they just like fell off a cliff. So
What are some of your thoughts here on the West? Suns finished first, obviously, but also first, like their best record in franchise history, 64 wins. The Grizz are sitting second. And I think
Yep.
we're going to see that for the next 5 years,
Yep.
if not first. Warriors back up at third. So what are these matchups? And we got the Warriors playing the Nuggets, Mavericks playing the Jazz.
Yep. Mavericks playing anyway. In that last game, Luka Doncic got a really bad sprain, so I'm kind of nervous. Like pre nervous, it was bad. Like
What?
I feel like
Where
if
on
somebody
his
go,
ankle?
yeah, I believe it was his ankle. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get in that first round because if Luka was 100% and didn't have that injury, like I would say just eviscerate Utah. They don't have a chance. Like Luka is freaking playing out of his mind this year. Which honestly, in my opinion, he's in the top 5 of MVP for my MVP picks. He's in the top 5 for sure.
Does Utah blow things up if this doesn't work this year for them?
100%.
Nuggets? No,
No,
they gotta
Nuggets
still
don't
wait.
because
They gotta wait
they
for
had the
Jamal.
injury, and like with what Jokic has been doing, given the team that he has, like oh my god! And if you get Jamal Murray back, and whatever version we get of Porter, Mike Porter Jr. So I think it's going to be big. But for Utah, 100%, I think it's Rudy Gobert gets traded. They're going to try and trade Rudy Gobert. Which I was thinking about this, man. Like some teams, if you could get Rudy,
Oh my
holy
goodness.
shit! Like
Oh man.
imagine if he was on Dallas with Luka.
That would be wild. That'd be
You know,
wild. Imagine if he went
he'd
to a
be pretty cool in
contender like
Boston too,
Memphis.
or Boston.
Boston
But
would be
no,
good. Yep.
Memphis has already got Jaren Jackson Jr. They're good, man. He would he.
Yeah, and Cleveland's
Yeah,
got 3 centers in their starting lineup.
but
Like,
you got to think of the kind of player Rudy Gobert is, right? Like that's the
yes,
unfortunate
yes, he
thing.
is a get out of my way.
I
What
watched
about
this.
Atlanta? That'd be an interesting.
Well, hold on. I watched this. Oh yeah, Atlanta. Actually, that is the team. That would be the number one team, 100%.
Shea.
Rudy Gobert and Trae Young. Because the other great thing too, which I don't think Donovan Mitchell, like he plays different than Trae. I think the way that
Yeah,
Trae
he's
plays
a
in
slasher.
relationship,
He's more like Russ, or like
exact
Russ
100%.
was.
The way that Trae plays, I think with Rudy Gobert would just open up. Like we would see Rudy Gobert play in ways that we didn't know, like he was capable of, and I think he's been capable of all along. It's just on Utah, he's had to been forced to play this certain kind of defensive
Yeah,
anchor, and I think opening the floor up more for him that'd be scary if Atlanta got him. But yeah, I think that Dallas team, and then also I think their coach. I think he. Quinn Snyder, great coach, obviously, but I just think the amount of years that you've been there in Utah and try to make this work, you couldn't get over the hump. I
mm-hmm.
think you got to have a
Mm-hmm.
change. So he'd be
Well,
also great
and falling
somewhere else.
off, like they were in a really great position the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's funny though that this has happened to Utah before. You think back to Karl Malone and
and
being
Stockton.
just so close and building something that's just so good and not quite making it there. One more spot destination for Rudy Gobert that I would be okay seeing happen would be Portland.
Oh yeah. Actually, him with Dame Lillard.
You need another
one
star.
One spot I would love to see Rudy Gobert.
Where's that?
On the Boston Celtics.
And next topic, we
Can I just say?
Yeah,
Boston will beat Brooklyn in this first round. Mark my words. I'm putting it right now on this pod. Okay, if I had it, I'm making a bracket. I'm making a bracket for the start of the playoffs. Okay. Out of my West, it's 100% Phoenix Suns. 100% Phoenix Suns. Nobody else. They're the best team in the league. Yep. The East, Milwaukee's an incredible team. Don't get me wrong. I'm putting the Boston Celtics in to make it to the finals in the East. Saying it right now.
You know what's wild?
It's gonna be Celtics, Heat.
Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly are all tied for second.
Yeah,
with 51 and 31. There must be some divisional wins that determine Boston being second, but that is a tight conference. There's a lot of competition.
When's the last
So
time
you're
we've seen
thinking
the East this
Boston,
competitive?
Phoenix. Oh man, well that's maybe like when LeBron was. Couldn't say. I mean, the Raptors have only the last 10 years. Uh, I'd like to see Charlotte come out too, but I don't know if that'll happen this year. It's good. It's really good. It's awesome for basketball. It's awesome for some of these teams that have been waiting a long time to get their shit together. Do you like fast cars? Do you like when they race? Whether you're a seasoned Formula One fan or you've just discovered the rush of racing, check out the Pit Stop Podcast presented by the Ordinary Podcasting Network. Join Jordan, Tyler, and Braden each week as they recap every race as well as break down the biggest stories on and off the track, all before setting you up for the next race in the Formula One schedule. The Pit Stop Podcast is available anywhere you get your podcasts. All right, dude. Hit me up with these. We made some predictions early in the season, or how do you want to do this?
Well, so I just thought we could do our list of looking at the end of the year now, our MVP and all. Give out our awards, give out our flowers. We're doing everything besides the All NBA because there's just so many players in the All NBA. And honestly, really, if we were to really think about the All NBA, I think like all the picks are pretty unanimous. Like if you were to think for first team, like I don't know, if you looked at all the players, like I feel like we'd probably land on the same ones. But anyways, so
All right.
First off. Who you got for MVP?
I think that it will likely go to Jokic this year again. I think that he'll be a repeat offender. I think Joel Embiid is going to push that, only having won the points per game statistic this year. But I got to give it to Jokic. I think still all around. Yeah, he's second in rebounds. He's been really dominant once again this year.
He's the first player ever in NBA history to record 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists
in one season.
No other player in NBA history has ever done that. In 75 years. He's crazy, man. He's crazy. I got Jokic too. I don't know. If I had to do it in some order for the top three, I would probably go. Embiid's been incredible. Okay, he's been so good. But I think Giannis Antetokounmpo right now is the best player in the league. He's not the MVP. I'd do Jokic, Giannis, Embiid. That'd be my top three.
Well, who's your four, just for fun?
I'd give you my five. Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, Luka.
Yep.
And this one's hard. It would be a toss-up because some people make the argument, it should be Devin Booker because it's the best team in the league for the Phoenix Suns. They have the best franchise record that they've ever had in their career.
Yeah.
But he's been really, really good. But I think Jason Tatum has stepped it up another level.
Fuck off.
This year. I'm telling you, man, if you look at all of his stats, Jason Tatum has stepped up to that level of caliber now that I put him in the top 5 for MVP. So he's my fifth.
I mean, it's unfortunate. I've got the same top 4, but my 5 fills out with DeMar. I think that he was in line for a really, really great opportunity to win MVP, and then the Bulls just kind of fell flat a little bit there. They got heavy, and that's why he's 5.
Your rookie of the year. I think
Scotty Barnes.
Yeah,
and it has to be undeniable to the reporters and media and everyone else who is determining.
Everyone in the U.S.
This guy, everyone in the U.S. has to watch just a little bit of footage of this kid who plays in Canada, because not only is he doesn't look like a rookie, man. That's the crazy thing. He looks like a vet, and part of that is the system around him with what Nick Nurse has done. These young guys always kind of come out and they've got a lot to prove, and Scotty's just dominant. He's not Kawhi Leonard, but he fits a really nice mold of what he could do. He's got an incredible wingspan that just it serves well for blocks, steals. His shooting percentage his rebounds, defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds. This guy just he's a workhorse and he hustles and all while making it look fun. It looks fun, the game of basketball to him, and that's it's exciting for a fan to watch that as well. There's a lot of energy behind him. So this is Masai was spot on with this pick. This is a kid who is going to be a franchise player, future of this organization undeniably, and he should absolutely win Rookie of the Year.
I'd consider Scotty to be like the steal of the draft, honestly. Because like you had your top three, everybody had that consensus. So many people up to draft night, even ourselves included. I'll concede in the heat of the moment, I wasn't thrilled. I thought we were gonna get Suggs. I just saw, I was still off of the elation of what Suggs did in March Madness, but just for the caliber of what he's done, the moment he stepped onto the NBA court, like you said, like he doesn't look like a rookie. It should be unanimous. Mobley has had a great year this year. He would be my second.
Mobley's been very good. We all knew he was going to be good.
And I would put Cade Cunningham third because I think, even though the Detroit team hasn't had a great season so far, I have watched one or two Detroit games throughout the year. And I've seen some highlights of Cade, and I just and even watching him around All-Star Weekend, I was more paying closer attention to him. And like when they were doing that contest for the 75 points are all on the little different teams. He has a great command in leadership and communication, which I think is a skill that you just can't teach in the NBA. Like either you have it or you don't. And I think he has the right kind of baseline that's going to elevate Detroit. But yeah, man, Scotty for sure. Everyone should pick Scotty. If you don't pick Scotty, the U.S., I just feel like you're a hater to watching Canadian football. So literally fuck off is what I'm going to say. Pick Scotty Barnes as rookie. Fuck Evan Mobley. It's Scotty Barnes. Okay, next, Defensive Player of the Year. I'm just going to say it right now, Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's the Defensive Player of the Year. I know you're going to disagree with me, but the whole reason why Boston is the number one defensive team in the league going into the playoffs, they are the number one defensive team in the league, is because of Marcus Smart. And it's because he made a sacrifice to not be a son of a bitch that shoots threes all the time. The more he's one of those few players, the more he takes less shots, the better he is. Okay? And he just does all those little nitty gritty things. He is the best. He's the best version of like the Kyle Lowrys, the Patrick Beverleys, all these kind of players. Kyle Lowry's the nicest out of all of the variations of this, but out of all these kind of players, he is the best at doing it. And he's the reason why I'm picking Boston to go to the finals. So he's my Defensive Player of the Year. All right.
He's the reason.
What are you going to say?
He's the reason.
Well, and Tatum going up to that next level too. So.
Well, I don't think Marcus Smart wins it. I actually think this might be the year Bam Adebayo gets his name engraved on that. This Heat team's first in the East. They were not supposed to be first in the East, but they had. It was his coming of age party when they were in the finals, and he had a good trip to the Olympics, and now he's kind of taken another step. I think this might just be Bam Adebayo's year.
I want to give a special shout out to Miles Bridges on Phoenix. I think he should get a nod for his defense.
Mikal Bridges. Miles is in Charlotte. He's
I always mix them up. Mikal Bridges, yeah.
Lonzo's lucky to have that guy. I just got to say that. Not Lonzo, LaMelo.
Yeah.
LaMelo
we know basketball. Six man of the year. 6 man of the year.
What? 6 man of the year.
If you had to think off the top of your head, 6 man of the year. I'm picking Tyler Hero. Who you got?
Ooh, man. 6 man. Who do I think's going to win 6 man? Yeah, I mean, I guess Tyler Hero. I'm looking some of the other guys who are eligible. Cameron Johnson had a good year. Kevin Love, no, I don't think he deserves anything anymore after his freak out last year. Do you remember that?
Really good game recently?
Playing?
He had a really good game recently, though. Yeah, he dropped a lot of points.
All right. No, I'll go with Tyler Hero as well.
That's a good pick. Most improved player. Mine is Jordan Peele for that.
Jordan Poole.
Jordan Peele, the director.
I'm,
I know basketball. Jordan Poole. He's the most improved, hands down.
I agree. But
Yep.
how does that work? Can you be most improved in your sophomore year? Or this is third year, I think.
I think it's
But
third year.
his productivity has gone up and up and up, like considerably this last year. So I think he's like 18.6 points a game. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's
On a team where you're
and
not supposed to be the guy producing.
he hits threes so consistently too. It's crazy to think. It's, in my eyes, I just see it's a testament to also to that organization in Golden State.
Yeah.
Man, developing their guys. Coach of the year, Monty Williams, Phoenix.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate.
Eric Spoelstra could get a good argument.
Spoelstra could get it too. Yeah, I mean,
but
who's this Boston coach? Udoka.
Ime Udoka. Yeah, and I'd put him. Those would be my top three.
He turned that ship around very, very quickly.
Yep.
Coach the Grizzlies could have a good shot at it too.
Taylor Jenkins, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those would be. I would probably go with Monty. I think they've had a revolutionary year.
That's crazy, man. Like 64-18, like they're such a scary team. They're so good at home. They're gonna have home for the whole playoffs. Like this is literally like Phoenix up for them to just take it. You know what I mean? It feels like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They were pretty sour last year.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess you could make an argument for executive of the year, but I don't know.
Masai,
I just always would give it to Masai. He's just the best executive.
Mainly because he's probably one of the only names I know. But
Brad Stevens. He's done.
Oh yeah, he's new in that position.
He made a couple of good moves this year for us, but anyways, it's good, man. Great season. I'm excited. I don't know about you, man. I'm excited for the playoffs. Wait,
Yeah,
so
dude.
I told my pick.
Tomorrow.
I told my pick. Who do you got for the who's gonna be in the finals? Is this still
finals? I think the Suns and the Bucks
and Milwaukee. Yeah, that's a good pick.
I think it'll be a rematch.
Yeah, and Suns pull out.
Yes, pull out with a win. That is.
Yeah. Good. It's important to clarify that.
Just want to make sure that that's clear. All right, dude. Well, let's do it again next week.
Okay, sounds good, man. I'm excited.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been the Backyard Basketball Podcast presented by the Ordinary Podcasting Network. You can listen to all of these podcasts anywhere you get your podcasts. See you next week. Can you do your little chow thing?
Ciao.
Liquid smoke.